Thorpe Park is one of the best theme parks here in the UK, with the most thrilling, tallest and fastest roller coasters this country has ever seen. But amongst all of these different coasters and rides also comes a lot of theming, and within all that theming often comes a lot of Easter eggs. Some hidden secrets placed very sneakily to pay homage to something, hint at new and upcoming things, or just straight up have no purpose at all. And a lot of these can easily be missed when visiting the park. So I thought it'd be interesting to discuss 30 different hidden secrets you may have missed at Thorpe Park. And some of them are actually quite cool, so be sure to watch till the end so you don't miss any. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. It'd be greatly appreciated. But the hidden secrets of Thorpe Park then, of course, if you haven't seen, I already did a part 1 to this series, if you want to call it one, where I talked all about the hidden secrets at Alton Towers, and there are still so many more, so I might have to do a part 2 of that. But you guys wanted to see a Thorpe Park version, and here we are today. And we're going to start at the Thorpe Park entrance itself. So there's an Easter egg before you even walked in the park. That's when you know there's a lot of hidden secrets to discuss. Because recently, the entrance itself had a huge update to this, and as you can see, there is a lot to look at in that middle photo. But zooming in and looking past some of the awful AI generation, zoom further into that yellow and red car. Now, what is that? As you're probably aware of already, there was a UK sitcom called The Inbetweeners, and they did a whole episode at Thorpe Park, and there's some iconic moments in there, and they drive the yellow car to the park and eventually get its door hit off, and that's why there's a red door instead. But that can now be seen on the entrance sign with all of the Inbetweeners names sketched onto it. As you walk through to the dome, which used to be Port Atlantis, which I'm not sure if it's there still, but in Quantum's queue line you can still see a sign that is themed to Port Atlantis. There's a bonus hidden secret for you there. But you keep walking through and you have that view of the park, and oh, isn't it beautiful? And we're going to work our way round from the right all the way over to Hyperia. So of course that means starting at the Swarm. And there's a couple different Easter eggs I've chosen to cover here. The first of which being on the Swarm supplies building, or should I say containers. It's not really a building, but the shop of that area. And as you can see, we have some text on the top right that is just a load of code. And if you twist your head 90 degrees on this photo and carefully look, you can see it says The Swarm, Project LC 2012, Comp 0312. Don't know what that means. But it then says it has a max height of 40 meters. You've got TPT in IMS. That could be inversions, which I don't know if it has 5 of them, but if they want to count it as that, I guess. Max cap of 28 people. I would assume that's per train. A very nice little hidden secret there, although don't forget about the LC 2012 thing, because on the top of the toilet block of all places, there is a plaque that says LCXII. Now, what does that mean? Well, if we go back to the project name LC12, 12 in Roman numerals is XII. There are more ones like that to come with the other rides, because Thorpe Park clearly love to do that. As we head more towards the centre of the park near Amity and Big Easy Boulevard, we do pass by Tidal Wave, the park's huge water ride which has 2.5 bathtubs worth of water dumped on your head in one drop. That's not a hidden secret, that is just absurd. But with the theme of this ride being a tidal wave, it's clear around Amity Cove that it has smashed in a few buildings. There's even a shark smashed through the KFC building. But what you might not have noticed is on the walls of some of the buildings in Amity, you can see a green sort of flood line from where that tidal wave and tsunami hit. It's the small details like that that I really love, as I do walking into Big Easy Boulevard. Quite a recently updated area, although they have a window in one of the buildings that pays homage to a previous attraction that was in that area, Pirates 4D. So they've put a lovely advertisement board and a lovely window for advertising for the company Pirates Affordable Homes. You get it. And at one point, the old Black Mirror Labyrinth site, where Deadbeat is now, was actually advertised on that board for being up for sale. We have now walked through that area and reached Stealth, or The Edge as it was originally going to be known as, but we'll get onto that later. Now, as you've been walking around the area of Amity, you've been hearing the radio, WWTP radio, to be precise. And throughout the music on that radio station, there are some fake adverts in there advertising products that aren't real. And a lot of those products can actually be found along the fence being advertised as well, where the queue line for Stealth is. And further along the Stealth queue, you can actually see a board that says a championship race of Stealth versus Rita. Yes, they've actually acknowledged Alton Towers and their worst ride. At least it's getting some love, and that would be a great race to see, although we know who would win, and it would easily be Stealth. Not because I don't like Rita, but purely because Stealth is the fastest accelerating roller coaster in the world. But when I said about the Edge as the name for this ride previously, that's more of a fact that you might not have known. But there is a hidden secret somewhere in the park that actually relates to that. Over opposite Ghost Train on the claw machines. Yes, of all places, they put some Easter eggs on the claw machines. And there's quite a few different ones on here. You've got all the different ride names, some old like Project Exodus branding as well. That was of course the name for what became Hyperia. And then in the corner, the Edge, which of course, like I said, the name for Stealth before Pizza Hut copyrighted that name. I'm not even joking. But moving on, whilst we're over in this section of the park, we may as well talk about The Walking Dead and Ghost Train. Starting with the most obvious ones in Ghost Train. Throughout the queue line when you are entering this experience, you can see various posters and timetables and adverts, whatever, all referencing different areas and rides in the park. Even some old ones in there as well. Although there's no Stealth versus Rita championship battle in this one. But a lesser known hidden secret that they have inside the ride building, or the experience building, because I don't even know if it's a ride anymore, is when you walk into the first pre-show. Forget about it. It's a good pre-show, but not that room. Wait until you get up the stairs into the batching area for the main train room, because if you wait there on the stairs, up on one of the shelves is a VR headset. Obviously paying homage to what it was before, Darren Brown's Ghost Train. A lot of people do get off of Ghost Train now and say, where's the VR? So Thorpe Park have the right to say, it was in there, you just didn't see it. Next door at Walking Dead The Ride. There are so many hidden secrets in here, but I'm only going to list a couple. When you walk into the pre-show, there is a quote-unquote workforce board, and everyone listed on that was actually part of the project making Walking Dead The Ride a thing. You continue walking down, and there's a van in the queue line and exit area that actually has XNWO on the number plate, that being a reference to the old ride that was there, X No Way Out. And not that I'm exactly a huge Walking Dead fan, because I haven't really watched it, you can actually see a lot of different props from the actual Walking Dead series dotted around the attraction, or replicas of them, whatever takes your fancy. But once you exit out of Walking Dead The Ride, you can then head over to our next major coaster on this list, Nemesis Inferno, which despite having a very similar name to Nemesis at Alton Towers, there's no real link there. Just the fact it's a B&M invert. But something you may not have realised, because they don't always have it there, is when you're in the station, the operator cabin for the ride actually has a Guinness World Record certificate for the Guinness World Record it broke. And Colossus also has this in the operator cabin, again not always on show, so it might be worth a look when you go. That one of course being for the 10 looping record, the most inversions on a roller coaster. So what was the Nemesis Inferno world record, I hear you ask? Well, it broke the record in 2004 for the most naked people on a roller coaster. Let's move on, because underneath the ride when you're riding it, there are two hidden secrets that you may not have seen at all. They're actually quite hard to spot, because whilst you're on the ride, on the section where the photo is taken and just before the final turn, you can spot in the little rivers of water some alligators sat there just chilling underneath the ride. I mean, it's a jungle, it's pretty cool, but do they have a purpose? I don't really think so. Something that does have a sole purpose of just Easter egg central, but is only open at Fright Nights at the park, is trailers. They're scare maze. And when I say its sole purpose is to just be one massive Easter egg, it's because every single room in it is themed to an old attraction or a film or something. I'm not even going to go into it. I guess go in it and see for yourself this Halloween. Continuing round through the old town, and we'll walk past Hyperia for now, because we're going to head to Samurai. And this isn't really a hidden secret, because you can literally hear it every time the ride runs. But a lot of you may not know that the soundtrack that plays whilst the ride is going is actually from The Matrix. No, it's not a Thorpe Park soundtrack like all the other soundtracks in the park. Yeah, it's from The Matrix, which I find really, really funny. And if we talk about soundtracks as well, there's a lot of soundtracks around the park on certain rides and attractions, especially Colossus and Nemesis Inferno, that at points in the soundtrack pay homage back to their previous soundtracks. Have you ever noticed that? You might not have. Moving on to Saw the Ride now, and this one has quite a lot of Easter eggs, mainly linking back to the Saw franchise. First of all, like the swarm on the shop, the container outside, you get another look at some of the stats of the ride, such as the max lift height, the drop angle, and the inversion count. Although right at the top, it also has Project Dylan written, which of course was the project name back in 2009. And then as you walk into the queue line itself, you're surrounded by so many trees and just more trees. But if you actually look behind those trees quite closely, the old maze of Soar Alive is literally just sitting there sinking. It just lays dormant behind the ride's queue line, whilst a lot of the theming inside that maze has now moved inside Soar the Ride. Because when you're walking in the indoor section of the queue, you can actually see a jigsaw Billy puppet on a bike, and that one is behind a cage because that is a real piece from the films. There are also various props and traps around the queue line that are real as well, and there's even a head that is on a weighing scale or just sort of sat there above you as you walk out of the exit, as you exit from the ride, and that is from the movie poster of Saw 4. But enough of that, let's move on to the brand new roller coaster for 2024, the UK's tallest and fastest roller coaster, Hyperia, because there's some funny and quite hard to spot secrets there. One that is quite easy to spot is whilst you're walking around, there's a lot of different places in the area called 236 something, and that is of course a huge reference to the fact it is 236 feet tall. The mention of that doesn't stop wherever you go in Fearless Valley, so get used to it. What you can also see is what previously stood where Hyperia is now, Logger's Leap referenced twice in the area. The first of which is not really a reference, it's more so it's literally there. Over in the distance whilst you're on the ride and from the main pathways, you can see part of Logger's Leap going over the lake. And the other that is just a rumour is the fact that the double down drop on Logger's Leap used to be exactly where the final airtime hill is on Hyperia, so could that be paying homage to that drop on Loggers? I don't know. Whilst you are coming towards the end of the massive cattle pen queue line, under the ride you can actually see a pair of wings that have been put up on one of the fence posts that appear to have all of the initials of everyone that worked on the project on it. Where you head up into the station and it says The Fearful above where you've just entered, although you can't see that, you have to look behind you. A hidden sign, I would call that one. And once you get off the other side, you go under a sign that says The Fearless, so the Fearless vibe comes in there. There's also loads of images on the wall, one of which is a huge map of Thorpe Park just before anything was there. But I have left my favourite Hyperia Easter egg and hidden secret till last. If you look up to the right at a separate piece of art, there is a smaller piece that has two fish on it that look to have wings. Now, what is that a reference to? Now, you might have already guessed what it's about, but if you haven't, then Hyperia is a Mack product. The manufacturer of the ride being Mack Rides, and that was also the manufacturer of Flying Fish in the park as well. So it's pretty obvious there's two fish in the station with wings. That is a reference to the best ride on park, Flying Fish. What a hidden secret that is. What a hidden secret all of them are. Hopefully there was one or two in there that you haven't seen before, and hopefully you never unsee them when you go to the park now. 1,000 likes and I will do another video like this, but for another park in the UK. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and subscribe so you don't miss any future content on this channel. Very much thanks for watching.